When Huawei's chief financial officer, Meng was arrested in Canada in December 2018 on an extradition request from the United States, she was accused of bank fraud, among other things. At the height of the angry diplomatic fight that ensued, Canada's ambassador to China, John McCallum, gave a press conference to Chinese language media in Ontario in which he offered advice to Meng as to how she could mount the best legal defence against extradition. McCallum, already well known as a friend of China, he'd recently said that Canada has more in common with China than with the United States, listed what he saw as serious flaws in the extradition case. Some suggested the ambassador sounded as if he were speaking for the government of China rather than defending Canada's position. A few days later, McCallum followed up his advice to Meng on how to fight her extradition by saying it would be good for Canada to release her, thereby privileging the pacification of Beijing over Canada's legal obligations to the United States. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was forced to sack him, leaving observers to puzzle over how such an experienced politician and diplomat could misfire so badly. One who recognised why McCallum was saying the things he did in support of Meng was former Mexican ambassador to Beijing, Jorge Guajardo. He'd been groomed in the same way. Envoys new to Beijing are isolated from senior Chinese officials. After a time, a message is sent that a high-ranking official wishes to meet them. They meet, and they're told they have a unique understanding of the nuance and delicacy of the party's position. They begin to see themselves as special. They're granted rare access to top leaders and believe they have been entrusted with an unusual insight into the inner workings of Chinese politics. Of course, other envoys are being groomed to believe the same. As special friends of China, the envoys' advice to their masters back home reflects their unique insight and is exactly the advice Beijing wants them to communicate. Self-belief, coupled with the need to feel important, opens people to seduction. The CCP's expert manipulation of vanity was identified by a previous Canadian ambassador to China, David Mulroney. He wrote, "You and you alone are sufficiently gifted and experienced to understand the situation and explain it to your government. The fate of the bilateral relationship is in your hands." Far more so than with any other country, diplomats in China become convinced that the most important thing in the world is maintaining good relations. They are persuaded that China is difficult for foreigners to understand, and instead of explaining their country's viewpoint to China, ambassadors see their role as explaining China's position to their governments. And so they become a conduit for the CCP's messaging. That was McCallum's mistake.